Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef back here in the Disco Dungeon. It is actually kind of nice to be back here, but I do still miss the camping weekend with some fine folks up at Cayuga Lake. Anyway, guys, we have a great show to line up today. Joe is hot off the heels off of a tournament up at the St. Lawrence River. We've been talking about this a lot on the shows leading up to the tournament. What exactly went down? How did Joe do? We're going to find out, guys. We have a little bit of, first off, we have the results of the slot limit tournament. We're going to be talking about that, and our winner did something absolutely amazing, and we're definitely going to focus on that quite a bit. But there is a little bit of drama going on with all this that I want to touch into. We have an FTG for the masses. This is absolutely unbelievable. On top of that, we got to talk about our spooky episode that's coming up next week. We have a couple of other things that we need to discuss as well. Make sure everybody's on track with everything. We're trying to put together some live events for the off season. We're about to have ourselves one hell of a 2025. We are very excited, folks. We've got a Just a Tip. We've also got a Gear of the Week this week. We got to talk about an item that I'm very, very stoked about. Even more impressed than I thought I would be, to be completely honest with you. We'll go ahead and get this show started, guys. Don't go too far. Grab yourself something delicious to enjoy. We'll be right back with more Jigs and Bigs right after this. I love this, man. You know, it's Monday morning. Here we are. Good morning, Joe. How's things?
Oh, man, Monday morning blues. Still trying to wake up, know what I mean?
It's brutal, especially like post-travel. It's the worst.
Yeah, dude, I'm still recovering. I didn't get home until like 2:30 in the morning yesterday.
That late? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it was. I would have made better time, but I was like, man, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to pull over real quick.
Take a little power nap?
Little 15, 20-minute power nap. That 15, 20... 2 hours.
Yes, dude. Yes. Is this guy drunk holding this boat? What's going on?
Oh, yeah, dude. So then it was like, so I wake up at like midnight and I'm like, oh my God. So do I just like finish the night out here, or do I like just push through the extra 2 hours? And I just pushed it through and I got home.
Yeah.
So
that's the way to do it, man. That's crazy. Yeah. Tim Behan's in, like Monday morning, like we know our jig heads aren't necessarily going to be, piling in here like they do later on a Sunday night. Tim Behan's here though. He says, morning boys, busy day at work today, so can't hang around. Wish that I could. Dude, we're glad that you're joining us at all. I mean, I think that this is amazing. And just so there's a couple things though. First off, in that intro, I kind of paused there, and I know if you're listening at home and you can't see this, you might have thought that I forgot the name of my own fucking podcast. I didn't there. I thought I was going to sneeze. Is what happened. I thought I was going to sneeze, and I was like, oh no, we're good. Jigs and Bigs. So it was pretty good. It would have sucked. I would have recorded that whole intro over again had I sneezed, but I think we're going to allow that one.
No, I wouldn't have let you.
No, leave it in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. Well, I do feel like you probably had the more exciting week with travel and everything. So why don't we start? Actually, you know what, Joe? Before we start with your week, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. Some stuff that we just got to talk about, guys. As you know, Jigs and Bigs is a weekly fishing entertainment podcast. You guys can tune in and be part of the show if you're one of our jig heads as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But not only can you do all that stuff, you can follow us on our social media accounts to kind of keep in touch with what's going on day to day, follow the show, find out about what's coming up, and also a little behind the scenes as well. That includes both a Jigs and Bigs Instagram and an American Vet Fishing Instagram that you should be following, and YouTube channels for both. I highly recommend it. I just dropped my video of the camping weekend up at Cayuga for the slot limit tournament, and I'll tell you what, I enjoy it. It's nice. It's very watchable. I know that we, some of our friends also are posting some stuff. Binya has like a 3-part mini series coming out, which I didn't even really realize that he recorded that much content. And then, of course, we mention them on almost every single show. Our Patreon members, our jig heads. If you love the show and you want to see the show happen live in front of you, well, you can. All you got to do is be a member of our Patreon group. you'll be a jig head. It's a $5 a month subscription. It gets you access to some bonus discounts from some of our partners and some one-off stuff as well, plus invites on trips and things like that. If we have something going on, you guys are the ones that we're going to go and we're going to allow into this stuff, as well as some live event stuff as well. And all this stuff is available at Patreon. Like I said, it's a $5 a month subscription. It's not going to break anybody, but it does go to support the show and keep things running over here, make some things happen. We would appreciate it, absolutely. But the big thing is that you get access to the live show recordings, which means when we mention somebody like Tim Behan or John Hagens or Cheryl Bentley or even Dave Key, these folks that we mention, they're in the live chat on YouTube as we're recording the show, kind of
watching how the sausage gets made.
Which is a disgusting way to refer to podcasting, but it's so accurate because we do edit the show a little bit and clean things up and put out the best product that we can for you. As always, one last thing that we want to mention, if you really love Jigs and Bigs, we have some merch. We've had a couple of orders come in recently. Some folks picking up on stickers. We have Jigs and Bigs stickers in 3 various sizes. We've got a bunch of apparel, different hats. We've got hoodies. We've even got, and this is the time of year for it, man, we have a fleece Columbia vest embroidered with the Jigs and Bigs logo. And we're about to be launching some different designs of the Jigs and Bigs logo featuring different species of fish. So be on the lookout for that as well. These are probably going to come in the forms of hats and t-shirts primarily, but you'll be able to get them no matter what. And hoodies as well, because who doesn't love a hoodie, man? It's hoodie season, Joe. It is so hoodie season.
It is hoodie season.
I have been living in all of my AFTCO hoodies and all of my and my Hooks at Hoodlum hoodies. Yep. I have been living in them lately. It's also, I don't know if you noticed, but it's Carhartt season as well. The Carhartts are on. The Carhartts are on. Even the base layer. It's that chilly.
Yeah.
I'm fighting with my family right now about the heat. If I'm going to put the heat on or not. I really want to push it to November 1st.
So yeah, we've used the pellet stove, but it's still weird because it's like 40 in the morning, but it's still getting to like mid 60s in the afternoon. So
yesterday it was 75 degrees out on the water.
Holy shit.
The afternoon. It was unbelievable. Like the swing in temperatures. It's like no wonder these fish are fucked up. And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So that about does as far as like housekeeping and stuff. I do want to mention one thing. There is a Jigs and Bigs hotline that you can call. 413-824-5319. Let me double check and make sure that's the right number. I'm fairly certain it is. But you can call there and you can leave reports for FTGs for our Fuck That Guy segment. You can also you can call and leave messages, shout outs, whatever you want. I did fuck it up. It's 413-324-8519. 413-324-8519. You can leave a voicemail. You can record up to 3 minutes. And I bring that up because we're going to be talking about our spooky episode in a bit. And the hotline should be getting a workout as we get into this because it's spooky season. And my YouTube fucking suggested feed is showing it and reflecting it. So with all that said, let's dive into what the hell is going on in the world of Who the Fuck is Joe Brown? Walk me through this.
What a week. Yeah, so headed up to St. Lawrence River on Wednesday. I did work, headed up from work. Tried to get out a little earlier so I could splash for a couple hours when I got there. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I got up there. I met my buddy Kevin. He works with Fish or Die as well. So went up there, met up with him. We both stayed at the ship, thanks to Chris and Christina Mellowship. So got up there Wednesday, just kind of got ready, retied, all that stuff. Kevin and I kind of hung out, went and grabbed a bite across the street, and Thursday morning we sent it, dude. I actually I brought Chris out on the Icon. Him and I went fishing. Yeah, he was going to kind of show me some techniques and spots because, dude, I'm still trying to figure that place out, dude. That place is such a. Not only is it a giant fishery, it fishes like a giant fishery.
It's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, exactly. So, unfortunately, it was real tough fishing for us. I think we hooked into 2. That day. I mean, we didn't do a full day, but I think we hooked into 2. So my hopes weren't very high for the tournament. I was like, uh-oh. Later on that night, Zech showed up. He got there from Dark Horse Tackle, who's my co for the tournament. So him and I went out Friday early morning, and we made a decision. We're like, you know what? We're going to take a little stroll into the lake. Or we're going to follow Kevin out there. Kevin's real good with the lake. So we're going to follow out there, kind of break some spots down.
Yep.
We go out there. It was rough. It was probably 3-footers, some chop, maybe some 4-footers in there. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret.
Yeah.
Joe doesn't do well with rough water.
No.
Joe doesn't do well with rough water. Joe gets seasick. And Joe got seasick about 10 minutes in.
No. Really?
After stopping. Oh my God, dude. It's crazy because, we've talked about this. I grew up deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
Constantly, and there was just one time I went deep sea fishing where it was super rough. I was like inhaling diesel and I got sick.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Dude, since then, it's like a switch has flipped and I just get sick every time I'm in rough water now.
No shit, dude.
I don't know. They say like 75% of it's psychological.
Yep.
It probably is, dude. And I just cannot overcome it for some reason.
Wow. Damn,
so, dude. I stopped on and it was funny too, because I forgot my butt seat for the front. I had one. I had one on the back.
Yep.
For Zech, I forgot my one on the front. So, dude, it was so rough, like trying to like mark spots for that 10 minutes I did survive out there.
You needed it. Yeah,
dude, I was on all fours, dude. Like, I couldn't have my foot on the trolling motor and not fall off the boat. Like that's how rough it was.
All right, so I'm going to tell you, I feel for you because, and when the wind started picking up and gusting when we were on Cayuga, that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, like, just to make the long ride out, like, because I play musical chairs in my seats. Like, I move them around.
Yeah.
And I'd left the casting deck up front wide open, which I almost never do. And I left that other seat down in the bottom next to the captain's chair. And I'm like, I should move this because this is a little bit rough. I think I might have at one point or another moved it back, but
yeah.
It was, dude, it's like sometimes it's nice just to have to like lean up against and give yourself a little bit of stability.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. Dude, I had not I like tried to stand up for a second, dude. Yep. And it just like, I was like, nope, dude. So I was literally on all fours, like using my hand on the trolling motor to I was like, dude, I can't stand up and run the trolling motor. Like I'll fucking fall right off.
Damn, man.
And then like that 10 minutes in, dude, I started to feel real green. Like like sweats and everything. And saying that it was like 33 degrees out. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh no. So I yelled at Kevin because we were pretty much right next to each other. I go, dude, I got to bring it back. I gotta stick to the river. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to be blowing chunks here in the next 5 minutes. And Zech's laughing, Kevin's laughing. So then we had to, hey dude, we went probably, maybe 10 miles out. And so I burned a shit ton of fuel to get out there, dude, in that rough water. You know what I mean? So now I got to burn a shit ton of fuel to get back just to the mouth. And then it's another probably 12, 15 miles to get to my spots that I have on the river.
Did you run out of gas?
No.
All right, okay.
I still have, but dude, it's like, it's like $150 to fill that friggin' thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So
dude,
it's like,
fuck. My little tank, it cost me like $40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can only imagine.
Yeah. So Zech, there wasn't a ton of actually like fishing that day. We're kind of more of just, checking spots.
Yep.
And no, the river was fine. It was just, we were more just not pre-fishing, but just like really like trying to break down some spots. And I did hook into one that I threw into, because we did find a pocket of them. They were, dude, it was they're still like so messed up. The water is still like 58, 59 degrees there, and it's like, I keep being told it's at like 55 degrees in the river that really like turns them on.
Yep.
So
it's almost there.
It's almost there, dude. It's like they're just staged. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'll bet you next weekend will be fire.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And
I might have to take a ride.
And there you go. Yeah. I'll throw you some spots. And the problem is like the lake's on fire, but I can't fucking fish the lake.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Dude, that's
so
that's
it's
rough.
so it sucks, dude. But so we hooked in, and we just kind of cruised around, whatever. Zach was having a blast, and
I'm sure.
We pull off. We moved from Taylor. We actually stopped in at the French Creek Marina on the boat where Taylor was setting up. Taylor and Drake from Doc's Tackle they were setting up the tournament, and so we stopped there, kind of shot the shit for a while. Try to one or two more spots that were up towards the mouth, and we weren't really seeing anything down there, so we kind of made the decision like tomorrow we're going to make the run up to the north of the river. So we did that. So we left French Creek. We pulled in, went and packed up our shit at the hotel or the motel, because we were staying at Airbnb with Taylor, Kevin, their wife and kids and stuff. Yep. Right down in Clayton, which is where the actual tournament was out of. It's like a 15-20 minute ride from where we were.
There you go.
Zech and I grabbed a bite to eat at the dockside pub. Bobby, this dockside pub across the street from the ship motel. Oh my god, it's, dude, the things like the size of, it's so small in there, but their food is so good. You don't like,
it's awesome.
Oh, their food is so good. Their wings, their burgers, their sandwiches. Yep. That night I think I had the cordon bleu sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, had some blue cheese on it. Oh, it was money. And their onion rings, dude, probably the best onion rings I've ever had.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know.
So I had a couple beers there. Went to the house down in Clayton. It was a cool barnuminium.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really
awesome.
Cool spot. Yeah, it was nice. It was funny because like technically we probably could have put our boats in there, but we didn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Course. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, we just kind of crashed out and got ready for the tournament. And that morning, dude, I actually kind of, I don't know if it was like the dryness from the house or whatever, but dude, I felt like dog shit when I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh no, like swallowing razor blades type deal. I was like,
no, that bad. Oh
yeah.
Shit.
I was like, oh no. Luckily it like, when I got outside and stuff, it surpassed. But dude, we get up, it's like 34 degrees out. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be a cold fucking run.
Hell yeah.
So I hope you're ready, dude.
Well, now it's interesting because I mean Zech fishes primarily from kayaks, and he was in a canoe for a long time.
Yeah, yep.
Was he ready for a full day like that? With like, because I still am not ready like to do like rain gear and the whole fucking nine and everything else. Like I'm still scrambling with that kind of shit.
Yeah, so he was a trooper, man. He like, it was funny. The first day we go to fish, he comes out with flip flops. I'm like, bro,
no,
like, bro. I was like, no. He's like, I gotta put on big boy shoes. I was like, I would put on some big boy shoes if I were you. Yeah, and so no, he was good. It was the big thing was like the wind. It
cut
once
right through you.
Yeah, once we stopped, it was fine. It warmed up pretty quick that day, but it was just the run, dude. I was like, if you have a rain jacket or something to block that wind, and he
put
did.
it on, yeah.
Yeah, so and he did. So yeah, dude. So we did a run. It's actually kind of funny. So, dude, just before I get into it, I had such a blast with him, dude. And he must have called me 3 times just saying thank you and texting me, just saying thank you.
I'm telling you, like, Zech is wonderful. The entire Dark Horse family they're the best people. We had such a blast, man. That's awesome. And
so we make the run, dude. And we were boat 12 there was right around 80 boats.
Yep.
We were boat 12. Dude, it took the only thing that sucked about where we launched was I think I think the launch that we went out of might be the only single lane launch on the St. Lawrence River.
Oh yeah, I believe that shit. Yeah. Okay.
So,
and it took forever. I'm sure it gets used. Yeah.
And then, dude, some of the people I see pulling in, I'm like, oh no. Travis, Smallmouth Crush, pulled in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, oh fuck. Some other hammers I know from the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
A lot of sponsored wrapped boats. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh boy.
Although, and I'm interested. I'm glad I'm thinking about this now versus at the end. Like we talk about all the time. It's those guys in the old boats that are just beat up because they only fish one spot. That you really got to be afraid of.
Yep. Agreed.
I don't know if that's how those played out here.
There was some of those. So you didn't see like the old like crappy bass trackers because those boats just won't survive on this body of water.
Yeah.
But there was just so many local guys that this is the only body of water they fish.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and I can't say that I blame them. You know what I mean? Like if I had access to that fishery as my local, I can't say that I blame them. That's awesome, dude.
Yep. So we launch out, we do that run, dude, and it's like 98% of the boats are going left to go to the lake. I'm like, I knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
There was a couple of boats that went upriver. Couple of them head more towards Canada. We kind of stayed on the U.S. side.
Yep.
And so we're running, dude. We get to the first spot, and dude, first cast, I hook in. I was like,
wow. Okay.
I was like, okay. So, drop shot. I was using a flatworm, accent flatworm. Dude, first cast, I hook in. There was one thing that Zech and I probably should have went over before we started. And that was, so you're using such light line here. I'm using 12-pound braid with a 6-pound leader, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you can't boat flip these things.
No.
And you got a partner, so you're gonna break out the net.
Yeah.
Zech's never really net a fish before, like on a big boat.
Yeah.
So we didn't kind of go through that like concept before. And
then you realize as you have this fish on, you're like,
yeah.
Fuck.
So, and no fault to Zech, fault to Zech at all. Him and I, we laughed about after. So I got this thing on, dude, and I have it. And then him and I were just like dancing between the fish and the net. Because I'm like, I should have just told him like, hey, dude, just put it in there and I'll bring it to you and just scoop it up. Oh no, dude. He's like, looking, and I'm trying to. It was like, it was funny.
I'm sure.
It was funny until the fish came off.
Oh.
And dude, so he just finally kind of got underneath it, kind of lifted up on the fish a little bit. It shook, dude, and it was probably a 2.5, 3 pounder. Yeah.
Oh, no. That would have been a great fish to put in the fucking, wow.
Yeah. So I'm just like, fuck. And I go, and he's like, dude, I'm sorry. I was like, no, it's not your fault. I was like, stop. It's not your fault. I was like, I'm just going to go sit and take a little time out real quick.
And on the first cast?
On the first cast, dude. However,
you know what they say about the first cast? Is that if you catch one on the first cast, it's bad luck?
It wasn't that day.
Okay, well, that's good.
It wasn't that day.
Nice.
So we bang up that spot for a bit. That was the only one that we got from that spot. And it was a spot that we had seen. It was a spot that we had seen. There was kind of it was ledges, dude. It was ledges that we were finding the fish in. And we were finding them anywhere from 18 to 40 to 45 feet. So we were fishing deep. And Zech had never fished that deep before. So it was a really fast learning curve for him, but he did really well.
That's awesome.
So we didn't see any. So we found a pocket in that spot where there was probably 5 or 6 of them, probably like all like 3-pound range sitting in there. And I was like, all right, we'll poke those tomorrow. First thing. That was the only one we hooked in there. They just weren't sitting in that pocket anymore that day. So I was like, cool, let's run to the other spot. It was basically I gotta say thanks to Chris because he really kind of like told me like, hey, this is what you have to look for, and that's what I did. And so we go to this ledge. It's basically a ledge on a shoreline. It probably goes a mile. It's probably a mile long. Mm-hmm. So we go down there, and we were going to work. We started at the bottom of it, and we were going to work up current, so I could keep spot locking, breaking down the area, and then going up. Mm-hmm. So we did that, and we just started clapping them, dude. It was unfortunately, it was not the size that we needed or that we wanted. But like right off the rip, I caught like a 2-pounder, put in the box, got another one around the same size, put in the box. And then Zech started, he started finally getting onto him. Excuse me. And, so he gets one, put in the box.
Yep.
And then we kind of realized something, and I'll talk about this in just a tip and a little bit more in depth, but something I haven't done, and I meant to bring the kit with me, and I completely forgot it at the boat launch. We had to fizz the fish.
Oh, they were that deep. No kidding.
Oh yeah, dude. So they were just like, we put them in the box, dude, and they were just right up at the top.
You're the second person today that's told me that they had to fizz fish in their tournament. I talked to the butcher when I was doing my Instagram live on my way back, and he was talking about, I guess, on Webster, like 75 boats. And he's like, we're catching largemouth in like 30 feet of water. Like, where the hell are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So
that's wild, dude.
We're looking in the box, dude, and we're like, we have to fizz these fish. So I had to reach out to Drake from Docks. And I go, hey man, do you guys still have the kits at the dock? He's like, yep. I was like, I need one. Can I? And then I had asked about the rules. Like, can I get off the boat? Like, he's like, oh, I'll meet you right at the dock with it.
Yep.
So it's a half-hour run one way.
Yeah.
So we had to run a half hour to the dock to grab at the spot.
Yep.
So it was this place goes into a real shallow, like it's a real shallow area that you have to go under a bridge and whatever. So we grab the kit, and Zech was saying we had never done, neither one of us had ever done it before. So it was like a quick fire right here. Yeah, it was a quick like YouTube because if you mess up a little bit, you can kill the fish like immediately.
Oh yeah, yep. Where did you fizz them? Did you do it down the throat, or did you do it in the abdomen?
No. We did it in the abdomen on the side. Yeah. So we did this. So, Zech did that, and he did an awesome job.
Nice.
And then the next thing you know, the fish were great. They were sitting, and they went to the bottom of the live well, and we were good to go.
That's awesome.
So we head back to our spot, right? Mm-hmm. And we're fishing. We look in the box again, and one of them isn't doing so good.
Oh no.
The first one, probably one of the bigger ones in there.
Yep.
To the point, dude, where this thing's like white, and we're like, oh no.
That's bad.
So, so still kicking, still moving.
Yeah.
And Zach's like, man, I must have like fucked it up, fizzing it or whatever. And I was like, it's all right. Like, he's still moving. Like, as long as he's still moving, dude, we can cull him out. Like,
exactly.
It sucks. Like, he probably won't make it, but we can do it. We keep fishing, dude, and a couple minutes later, Zech hooks in, and it's a donkey.
Yes.
I was nice. So it's crazy. It's crazy at the St. Lawrence because if they're like anything above like 2.5 pounds, they all feel the same. You know what I mean? Until you get into that like 5-6 pound, that anywhere from that like 2 to 5 pound, they all feel huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like, it feels like a good one. I was like, yep. I was like, and we're sitting in 60 feet of water, fishing like 25 to 35, maybe 40.
And you guys are fishing drop shots primarily here?
Drop shots, dude. We were drop shotting all day.
Nice.
So we get that thing. So we can see it like, 25 feet down because the water's so clear. So we still can't tell the size. And then it finally like comes up towards the top. And I'm like, dude, this is a big fish.
Got a good fish.
I was like,
don't fuck it up.
Let's chill here and let's slow down. And he did, Zech was awesome. And we got it in the net, and dude, he was so pumped. Ended up being 4.5 pounds.
Holy shit. Nice job,
So
Zach.
nice fish. he was just elated, dude. And so he gets it in there, immediately fizzes it.
Yep.
Goes down to the bottom. We look at that other fish, still not looking good. So I'm like, oh no. I was like, so now we have 5 in the box at the,
All right,
we have
that's
5
good.
in the box this time. So I'm like, all right, dude. I was like, next one we can just call it out.
We're gonna call him. Yeah.
Yep. So we go and we keep fishing. It kind of shut off a little bit for us. We kept fishing up this ledge the whole mile. Right at the tip of the ledge.
I can just imagine Zech at the back of the boat looking in the live well like, I'm not gonna lose you.
So it's funny, dude. That's kind of like we kept flipping him. Like he was upside down.
Yeah.
Like here's where I'm gonna say. So I'll get right to that fish right now. So here's where something real cool with the icon came into place.
Yep.
So that has that fish IV, right?
Oh yeah, that's
System,
right. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. So and I have G juice in there, dude. I went to the touchpad and I go, dude, I'm just gonna try something. And I fucking must have hit that button 10 times, dude. Like I must have put
a little
fucking
injection.
full bottle of G juice in there. And I was like, I mean, I'll make sure all the other ones are good, like whatever. Zech hooks into another one, dude. And here's what's crazy.
Oh,
he fucking,
that's good.
we're like in 25 feet of water still.
Yep.
And this is where the butcher Bogley's thing is kind of funny. Get this fish to the boat. It's a fucking largemouth.
Really?
Yeah, it's a fucking largemouth.
Holy
a nice
fuck.
one too.
Nice.
One. Probably like 2.5 pounds, something like that. And so we get that in.
That's wild.
So now we have to make the decision.
Yeah. Do you release the one that's weak or?
Because we have a smaller fish in there.
Yeah.
So he's like, dude, the fucked up one was your fish. I'll let you make the call. Like, I was like, I'm looking. He's still like struggling, dude. I'm like,
even with the G juice, huh?
So this was right after I did the. I think we caught this fish and then I did the G juice after.
Gotcha.
So I was like, his fins were still moving. We only had probably 2 hours left in the tournament.
Yep.
I was like, let's keep him in there, dude. I was like, he's a fucking pound heavier. It'll
It's
be a pound
it's
more,
worth
pound
it.
and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking that much off of your bag. It's
Yeah. We had a rat in there that we just wanted to get rid of.
Yep.
So I get rid of the rat and I'm like, we're taking a risk. Like we could get a penalty if this thing does end up dying.
Yeah.
So we put it in there. We end up, that was the end of that ledge. We end up trying to hit that first spot again that we went to.
Yep.
To see if they were back in that pocket. Unfortunately, they weren't. And we fished there till pretty much our time because we had a half-hour run back. So then I was like, check the live well. We look back in the live well. We're like, oh, where'd it go, dude? Like, we look, dude.
That fish was fine.
He was now, his color had come back. He was back, like, just, in the, like, swimming like normal.
No shit.
It was wild, dude. It was like nothing ever happened. How we brought that fish back, I mean, I have no idea. But I was like, because I was nervous. I was like, man, I don't want to get a penalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we go back. So we make the run back. We make it. We actually made it to the dock with like 3 minutes to spare. So we were cutting a little close, but because it was that thing where it was like, all right, one more cast. And we bomb out of there. We get there. And immediately I'm starting to see some of the fish that we put our bag, we get our fish, we get in line. Mm-hmm. Dude.
There was just no way. Yeah.
I'm looking, dude, and I'm like, oh,
we're fucked.
God.
We're fucked.
Dude, I think the first bag I heard, 26 pounds.
Shut up.
Yeah, 26 pounds.
Oh my God.
So these dudes that are in the lake were just fucking killing it.
Hammering them, yeah.
So I was happy with our, so we ended up with like 12 and a half pounds.
I mean, in considering that you were in a completely different section of the body of water.
Yeah, dude, I was just happy that we caught fish and we kind of, so, and I've been trying to break that place down this year going down there, and I'm just going to continue to do that. We had a blast, dude. Yeah, cool. We
That's
were like
awesome.
towards the middle bottom of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people actually, there was people that didn't catch fish that like left early and shit.
No shit, really?
Yeah. So the winning bag
Yeah.
was just over 29 pounds.
Shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
Big fish was just over 7 pounds.
Yep.
Smallmouth.
God damn, I can't imagine that.
Dude, you should have
can't
seen
even
these
imagine
fish,
that
man.
fish.
You should have
Jesus.
seen these fish. I was just like, that 7 was the biggest smallmouth I've seen in person.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just like, dude, it looked like a tick.
Yep.
It was insane.
Just
They're
bloated.
It doesn't even like. Here's what's crazy about the smallmouth down there. You know, we have our smallies here. Like they don't get super fat. Like they do, like a little bit in this. Dude, every single one of those smallies in there is so friggin' fat, dude. It doesn't matter if it's a 2.5 pounder, 3 pounder, or 7 pounder. They all look like they're just like engorged ticks, dude. It's wild.
It's freaking nuts, dude. I love that shit.
Yeah, dude. But oh man, did we have such a good time? That I mean, Zach and I, we did together. We just had a blast. Dude. There's
That's
so many
awesome.
laughs, so many good times. I mean, he's just like he was just so elated. It was fun to see that.
Yep.
Congrats to the guys that got the fucking 29-pound bag.
Oh,
I mean,
hell yeah,
it wasn't.
dude. That's
dude,
fucking insane.
and the crazy part about it is that wasn't like a runaway bag. There was like they got the 29, but there's 28s, there's 27-pound bags, there's 26-pound.
So
bags.
it was competitive all the way to the top. It was
You have
that's
27,
awesome.
26-pound bags that weren't even in the money, dude.
That's what the fuck.
Yeah,
So
absolutely insane.
10,000 foot view, right? How many boats in total were there?
Like 80.
80.
Yep.
Where did you guys finish?
I don't know the number. I want to say it was fuck. It was either I want to say it was like high 50s, low 60s.
That's not bad at all.
Dude, for my first tournament up there.
Your first tournament up there, you limited out, which is important.
Yeah. I mean, we were culling.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just couldn't find the big ones.
Yeah.
They're in the river, dude. It's just, from what I was gathering from, and it depends, dude. Like some of the sections, there was a couple big bags that came out of the river that they were fishing them. I know Travis from Smallmouth Crush was landing his on friggin' A-rigs. Deep water A-rigs while we're,
A-rigs.
drop. Yep.
Yep.
And there was a couple big bags that were on the river. It's just like, dude, some places on the river, they might have been in 15, 16 feet of water where we were, we're seeing them
at 25
to, I mean, Zech caught his in 40, that big one in 40 to 45 fucking feet.
fucking crazy.
Dude, we had half ounce
Drop shot weights.
and it was still taking fucking 10 seconds to hit the bottom. You know what I mean? And you whip that thing out as far as you can. By the time it hits the bottom, it's like next to the boat, dude.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
100%. You're just like, what's the point of casting? I should just fucking drop it straight down.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
it was, dude, it was such a good time. I am so excited to go back up there.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna spend lots of money going up there.
Yeah.
You have to, dude.
I really do. It's just
Fishery
fucking
is
stupid.
wild. It's so wild.
Fuck.
And I can't wait to do this tournament again next year. I'm gonna go back up there in the opening season because they do have a season up there for black bass. It doesn't start till I think it's June. It's either June 14th or 15th. I think it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was last year.
I've heard like mid-June is where things kick off, and
So so I'll be up there again for that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. And I'll be up there a few times next year.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Had a blast, huge learning event. Same thing for Zech. We learned a lot, and again, like I said, dude, we caught fish. We caught fish.
That's what you're there for.
We were culling like it was. We just couldn't. We figured it out too late. So what it was. So you have these rocky ledges here, right? And then you'll have like not everywhere, but there will be these like huge boulders, like the size of the boat. You know what I mean? On the bottom of these ledges.
Yeah.
That's where the big ones will sit. There'll be at least, and that's where he pulled his 4.5 pounder off of one of those big boulders sitting in like 40 feet of water.
Because they just relate to that shit in that deep water.
So had we known, we could have just looked for those big boulders in that like 40, 45 feet, like, you know, the day before. So yeah, huge learning curve. The guys that are up there fish that place every goddamn day that, you know, did well up there. So good on them.
That's awesome.
But yeah, dude, we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. I can't wait to do it again.
That's freaking awesome, dude. I absolutely love that. I absolutely freaking love that shit. Yep. And it was awesome that it was a fish or die event and all of this other stuff. I'm so glad, dude, that it went off so well. There's something wrong with me that I haven't fucking taken the boat up to the St. Lawrence River yet. There really is. Although I'll tell you what, I do think twice about going up into the lake now after hearing about how you were handling it.
Yeah, but your boat's made for that shit, dude.
It is a little bit better for that. That is true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's so small and so fucking light. It's only 16 and a half feet long.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing I'm a little concerned with. I'm like, this could be fucking dicey. But I would try it cautiously.
I mean, especially for you, the cool thing about right now, dude, is the muskier in there.
Yeah.
The giant muskier in the friggin' river. The piker in the giant piker in the river.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Taylor caught a 35-pound drum Saturday.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah. All right.
35-pound drum. The thing was huge. I wish I had him send me the picture. I'll have to have him send me the picture, show it to you. But
that's insane, dude.
Yeah, dude. We had a blast. Such a great time.
That's fucking awesome, dude. It sounds like it was an amazing time. And I'm glad Zech got to get the big boat, you know, Joe Brown experience, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucking cool. And like you nailed it, like a learning curve, you know, this weekend. You picked up a lot of knowledge about that fishery. Zech picked up a lot of knowledge, I'm sure, about the entire experience altogether.
Yeah.
Like that is, and that's way more valuable than whatever the pot was worth.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a great video clip I might drop maybe later on today of Zech. Kind of getting his bearings with the boat in the rougher chop on the river, because I'm not slowing down if I hit some wakes or something. There was one where we hit a little bit of air, dude, and he like for some reason he put one arm up, dude. So it was like as we're hitting it, dude, it looked like he was riding a bull.
He's trying to grab for the old shit handle and it ain't there. It's not there, buddy.
Yeah,
that's fucking
so
great.
I'm going to be throwing that video clip out there, but
man,
yeah, dude.
So my week was fucking stupid. It was crazy. So before I jump in, I want to mention Todd Sefton's in with us. Todd and I are actually planning a trip next spring to St. Clair, which could be awesome. That could be a whole lot of fun. And it's on 420 weekend too, so it's going to be a party. But let's talk about my week. Was weird. I got back into town on Monday, and I backed the boat into the backyard, got everything together, started unloading the truck. Everything's good. I had to work that night, came home. The next morning, I noticed something. I went out to the boat. Dude, my license plate was missing. Fucking license plate was missing. I was like, what the fuck? So I'm like, did I lose it on the drive home? I did not. I think somebody stole it from the campground.
Holy shit.
I do. I launched the boat on Friday, and then the owner had told me to park my trailer so it wasn't eating up space at the campsite behind the office. And I guess like that's like there's a space there where I think they do like some entertainment and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think somebody was just drunk and stupid and was like, I'm going to steal this license plate, and just fucking took it off. Because I know this. I know it was missing there because I have video footage in the video. Nick had taken this footage of my truck pulling the boat out of the water, and you can see that the plate's missing there. So it's not like I lost it on the ride out or anything. And I'm fairly certain I had it when I parked it. So, and I mean, I drove 4 hours back, no plate. Nobody stopped me. Nothing. Nothing. I couldn't believe it. So I go and I even made 2 stops like along the way, like alongside gas pumps. Nobody said boo. Nobody. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All right, whatever. So I had a little bit of a mission this week, and I had to go and essentially get a replacement plate. So I looked online and I was like, I'll just do this online and be fine. You know, it takes 12 weeks to get a replacement plate.
Holy crap.
It takes 12 weeks. And because it's a trailer plate, you can't do it online. You have to go into the RMV, which is fine. I'll gladly do that because then I can get an immediate turnaround. So I go down with my registration and everything, just jumping through a bunch of hoops. The woman there was like, oh yeah, you need an RTA from your insurance company to get a replacement plate. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm holding an active registration that has a stamp with insurance already on it. Like, just fucking whatever. The one positive at the end of this was that when I got the new plate, because it's so close to the end of the registration, they don't have those 24 stickers. So she's like, we're just going to do a renew right now. Okay. So I'm good until next year now. So that's cool. At least that's done, you know? And I'm like, great, this is perfect. I'll go ahead and do that. So got that all managed. Went out on Friday. And this was after I did payouts and everything for the tournament, and all that's all set. We'll talk about that stuff in a second. I went out on a Friday, and I realized, I'm like, it's over. October's already half over, you know? Yeah. Like, and I haven't put a single fish in the scavenger hunt. I caught a couple of largemouth while I was up in New York, and I just never even crossed my mind to photograph and enter these into the scavenger hunt. I just wasn't even thinking about it. I was like fun fishing with some folks, and we're having a good time. And I'm like, motherfucker. I mean, granted, these are largemouth, dude. Yeah. I'm fine. You know, it would be one thing if I caught a catfish or something like that. I might think otherwise. But on Friday and on Sunday, I caught fish that were over the minimum for the scavenger hunt. I should have just entered them in. Stupid. Very stupid. So I went out on Friday, and I went out to old Congamon Jr. Because I'm like, I have nothing on here. I'm like, I know there's diversity of species there, and I can go ahead and move around a little bit. I had an ample amount of time because my oldest daughter had told me she was going to pick up my youngest from school. So I'm like, I can fish well into the afternoon with no problem now. So I went out and I sent it pretty hard. I started with a couple of spots that I have had really great results with on a variety of different times of the year. It's just the structure is really good out there. There's good difference in depth. There's weed lines. Like, it just kind of worked out. And I probably picked up about a dozen largemouth. And the largest one came in, I think, at like 13 and a quarter or 13 and a half in total. That's what you're going to get over there. I've caught a handful of bigger fish, like maybe 15 inches, 15 and a half, but nothing like really amazing out of that body of water. But I'm like, hey, a point's a point. I'll take it. And then, and I caught that. So I had a tap on a finesse swim bait, just covering water, but the visibility was actually pretty good where I was. No cloud cover at all. And we had a pretty decent amount of wind, but I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and start throwing what I already have tied on and see what happens. And I got a tap on probably one of my first 5 casts. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll fool around with this a little bit more. Let's strip it down a little bit and get a little bit more subtle. So I threw a fluke in the same color. Bingo. Just freaking started hammering them on that. I was like, there we go. And there was like probably about a half dozen bass. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. The biggest one of the bunch came in at 13 and a half. I caught a bunch more, probably another 5 or 6 later in a couple other spots. But I was like, let's diversify things. So I grabbed the BFS combo. And you know, it's funny, man. You know, the reason why I said I got into BFS was because of the I don't want to know if it's carpal tunnel necessarily, but those pains in my wrist when I'm using and holding a spinning rod that much. Dude, a fluke and a jerkbait are the worst. When it comes, they are. I'm like, you know, and it just starts up. So I'm like, we'll switch over to the BFS. We'll start throwing this around. I started off with a micro jig with a swim bait on it, just kind of because it's super versatile. I can throw it up into some cover. It's got a little bit of a weed guard. It doesn't help much, but then it's also got that swim bait on it so that I can pop it and swim it through the water column. And I had something bite it and take the tail off, so I was like, you know what? Let's just throw a Bronco blade on here and see what happens. Mm-hmm. So same color, everything else, and I throw this in here. I get my sunfish, came in at like 8 1/4. Big old bluegill. I'm like, all right, sweet. Now let's just cover this bank and see what we can come up with. I had a couple of pickerel. I was really thinking that I was going to be able to get a pickerel in the boat. I had one of them just follow right up to the boat and turn off once he saw me. Yeah. And then I had caught a crappie. Right? Yeah, a crappie off of a dock as I was making my way down. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then from there on out, it was just bass after bass after bass. Unbelievable. I caught them on, like I said, a fluke. I did catch them on that finesse swim bait, and I caught them on a drop shot and my BFS. All like in a similar like 2 to 3 inch matching color pattern across the board. And I'm like, all right, sweet. All right, we'll call it. You know, I fished pretty much most of the day. I still had to work that night. I'm like my life for the next few months is just going to be working every night except Saturday nights, unless I have a private event. This is fucking insane. I can't believe I did this to myself, but I did. I have accounts now that are asking me to double up. Oof. I'm like, it's so hard to say no to, you know what I mean? But I'm like, motherfucker. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. So I get off the water that day. I head back into town. And initially I was going to fish on Saturday. And I opted instead. I told my wife, I was like, hey, so what's going on this weekend? What are you working for shifts? And she's like, initially Friday night, she was going to work her regular day at school, work an evening shift at one of her other jobs, then go to the other one and work an overnight. Well, she ended up calling out on the overnight. And I was like, listen, I go, I'm glad you did. I go, I'm not going to fish on Saturday. Let's go for a ride and we'll look at some foliage. We'll grab some lunch. We'll have some coffee. It'll be a good time. And we did. We had a real fun time. I was like, pick a state, New York or Vermont. And she's like, New York. I said, okay, cool. So we go and we just head west. We go and we get lost in the Berkshires and we're going all over the place. Your boy had not one, but 2 pumpkin spice lattes at 2 different cafes. One of them was called a spicy pumpkin latte and it had cayenne pepper in it. Oh, dude, it was so good. It was so good. We had lunch at this place called, I think it's the Crook and Larder. Small cafe, little grocery store with some really, really nice sandwiches. And then we did one of my wife's favorite activities. We went grocery shopping. And we had a good time. And what's funny is, and I'm going to show this to you, and the jig heads can see it as well. But on the drive back, she and I were, just doing our thing, and she starts falling asleep. And I recorded this video of her, and she's wearing the jack-o'-lantern fucking sweater. There's a head nod there. Oh, it's fucking great. And I told her, I was like, I want to make it a reel. She's like, don't you dare. I'm like, you're no fun, man. What the fuck? So I told her, I was like, yeah, Saturday, let's just hang out. It'll be fun. We'll do our thing. Yeah. And we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Hung out around the house. And then I'd been talking with Paul about trying to set up an outing. And he's been kind of like back and forth with, of course, he blames his kids bringing the sickness in from school into the house. And that's not false.
Yeah, it's not.
It is a real thing. But he's like, dude, I have not been able to shake this cold. I was like, well, hey, when you start feeling better, let's go ahead and do this. And Saturday or Friday rather, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm scrapping Saturday. I'm going to go out on Sunday now. She's got to work in the morning. I'm going to take that day and just have some fun, but I'm not rushing to get out there first thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, what time are you thinking? I was like, I'm thinking like 9 o'clock. We got out on the water for about 10, and it was something else. We just fished the river, and we went, I went to this one spot that I've really been having some good results from. And I was like, I like to fish rivers. I like to go downriver and then work my way back up.
Yeah.
You know, just, I don't know. I guess it's somewhere along the line when I've asked questions about river fishing, a lot of folks have always said, cast upriver and bring it back down. And I'm like, it only makes sense to just start here and go up.
Sure.
So I go and I start fishing this one spot, and there's just the parking lot at the ramp is just chock full. I got the last space, and I think it was just because somebody happened to pull out as I came in. I got real lucky. So we go and we fish this one spot, and I'm throwing around a finesse swim bait. Again, like, the water clarity here is pretty good. It's probably about 5 foot visibility, you know?
Okay.
I mean, like, it's not like St. Lawrence or anything like that. That water is crystal clear. This is like 5 foot visibility. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to really throw anything like vibration oriented or anything like that. So I'm throwing around like a 3-inch Kitech, and I'm whipping this sucker around, and I get the weirdest bite. It was a largemouth. I get tapped, and I thought maybe it was like a bluegill or something, just kind of got the tail and let it go. And then, so I'm like, all right, so I'm doing like quarter turns, and then it comes back and it hits it again. And at this point now it's close enough I can see it. It was a largemouth that had struck it, and I must have just skin hooked it, and it just freaking thrashed like crazy. And then I saw the lure come right out. I was like, you motherfucker. So I was like, okay, we got some fish here. Let's go ahead and lock down right here and see what we can put together. I make another couple of casts. I don't get another bite on that. I'm like, let's throw that fluke and see what we come up with. Nothing. I'm like, okay, no sweat. We work this area for a little bit, then we start moving back upriver. I decide, I'm like, I'm going to downsize big time because I've had some off or unique species bite in this section of river. And I'm like, I'm going to downsize and throw that Bronco blade. Well, I did, and I put a smallie into the boat.
Okay.
A small one, I think it measured in at like 9 1/4 inches. Maybe that's not the right sound effect. Maybe the right sound effect is... But it hit the minimum, and a point's a point. So I measure this fish. We're on our way. Everything's good. We're in this one section of river where there is... It gets pretty skinny, and there's a curve in the river, and there's this boat coming up at like just mock fucking Jesus upriver, and they see us, and they're just like immediately slow down and then start coming up. We talked to them for a little bit, and I was like, so how you guys doing? And they're just like, we can't catch shit. Like, and I mean, put it this way, for the investment they made in that boat, I'd be pissed too. You know what I mean? A big old Merc 200 on the back. Like, I'm just like, oh, dude, that's rough. And I was like, there's no fish in this river. There's none. This place sucks. And they go along their way, and I tell Paul, I was like, look, let's go back to the original plan. We'll cut back to the other side. We'll go upriver, work that bank a little bit, and see what happens. I saw something throwing around that Bronco blade that I wish I could have hooked into. It was the biggest yellow perch I have ever laid eyes on. And it's tough when they're in the water to get a real good idea of how, but I would venture to say this might be pin worthy. Like, it was a biggin.
Okay.
And it followed my bait out. Once I saw this and he didn't eat the bait, I was like, okay, spot lock, and let's try to drag a drop shot by and see what happens. You know?
Yeah.
Something a little bit more subtle. Couldn't get this fish to bite. Didn't want to waste too much time on it because I needed to get off the water by a certain time because, again, I had to work. So we start making our way upriver, and things are good, you know. We fished all the way up to almost, Jesus Christ, almost Hatfield. At that point, like, we went way up and we fished a bunch of it. There's one point I saw some type of a fish where it got really shallow. I want to say it was either one of the biggest fall fish I've ever seen, or maybe a shad that was just kind of lazily doing its thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, Paul didn't get a single bite the entire day. It was just brutal. Absolutely fucking brutal. Fucking pontoon boats just aren't going to quit. And we saw a fucking jet ski. I'm like, really? Aren't you pieces of shit done?
What was the water temp? Do you know?
I don't know what the water temp was. I want to say it was probably in the upper 50s. We got out on the water, and the air temps were like in the low 40s. No, man, I think in the mid 40s when we launched.
Gotcha.
And we had fog coming off the water.
Gotcha.
So I'll bet you it was like mid to upper 50s, something like that.
Okay. All right.
We never even fucked around in Oxbow at all because we're just like, we ran out of time. I was like, I feel like the river is where it's going to pay off, and we were wrong. Got back to the launch though, and we were talking to some other folks that fished in Oxbow. They're like, you didn't miss shit. Like, you're probably better off where you were. Like, there was nothing going on in here. So that kind of sucked. But it was good that I was able to get out a couple of times and catch them, get on the board. I've got 4 points. I'll take it. Scavenger Hunt Series, this is the last month of it. And then when we come back next year, I might add a couple of features. Some folks have been asking me to add different species. I may. We'll see what happens. I am considering adding a wild card for next year's scavenger hunt, so that this way, if you catch anything, you can get another point that way by popping some type of a fish in there. And then what else? That was pretty much it. Then it was work for me. The other thing, and this is just going to transition to like what we've got to talk about here. So let's talk about let's actually talk about the slot limit tournament results right here. So we paid out 4 spots this month. And in 4th place, we have the one and only Adam Finlay taking the 4th place spot right there. 3rd place was Nelson DaCosta. Nice job, Nelson. A newcomer to the slot limit tournaments and the Jigs and Bigs tournaments. Anyway, 2nd place, Jeremy Smith taking 2nd place right there. And in 1st place, you know him, you love him, the one and only Brody. Brody takes 1st. This is his 2nd slot limit tournament in a row that he has won. And I'll tell you what, we got to talk about Brody a little bit. So all the payouts have been made.
The reigning champ.
He is, man. And if you want to take somebody out, you got to take out a little kid is what you got to do. I'm trying to be like, can you imagine if he gets a Triple Crown?
Oh, my gosh.
Wouldn't that be insane?
That would be insane.
If he scores a fucking hat trick, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. But Brody, so I did all the payouts on either Thursday or Friday. Some of them were done on Friday. But all the payouts have been out. Everybody's gotten paid for their stuff. And thank you to everybody who had participated in this tournament. It was a really, really great thing. And this was like I said, a charity tournament that we were doing to raise money for breast cancer research. Yep. Brody returned half of his winnings to add to the donation of the breast cancer.
That's awesome.
That is amazing, dude. Like, very, very impressive. An amazing, and I'm like, I told him, I was like, dude, you don't have to do that. I'm like, but I appreciate that you did. We will have a total because I'm adding a little bit to the donation, and you'll hear why in a little bit. But I'm adding a little bit to the donation. And I'll give you guys a total of what that donation was. And in the future, we can do some stuff. Now, my vision for the slot limit tournament, we might try doing it monthly. Like one weekend a month, we'll just boom, that's when it is. And we go for it, and it is what it is. It is a little bit challenging to do like these catch-em-all styles, or maybe we'll do a best 5. I don't know. Like maybe we'll change things up, but I think we're going to include a bass tournament once a month to go ahead and do that. And we've talked about the idea of doing a catch-em-all with different species. If we're going to do that, I want to do that in addition to.
Yeah.
So we'll do something and have a little bit of fun with it. But I would say it was a pretty amazing tournament for everybody. It was a tough tournament. Like a lot of people really had to grind it out. And congratulations to Brody. That was absolutely amazing. One other thing I do want to talk about, and this has to do with next week's show. So, like I said, October's like over half over at this point. What's next on tap?
Fucking Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? I'm kind of a party pooper when it comes to Halloween. Like my wife and my kids love it. And I love the idea, but I am so lazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, whatever. We're going to go ahead and do this. It'll be fine. We had initially said we were going to record the show on the 27th. Obviously, we're talking doing Sunday morning now. This will work out great. We have had 2 people reach out with phone calls regarding their own spooky stories. Again, I just want to throw an invite out there. 413-324-8519 is the hotline number. You can call if you've had something spooky that's happened. And these are barely related to fishing. These are this is just I'm loosening up the terms.
Yeah.
Like these are barely I think one of them happened at a house that was on a lake, like shit like that. Like it's all right. Go ahead, mix it up. I have a couple things that I'll be talking about. We're going to share some stories about some local and regional kind of like spooky areas that have some shit that's gone on and people have seen up front. So if you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to have you on. I was hoping to bring on some guest hosts for it. The one of these guest hosts specifically, I haven't heard from yet. Dude is busier than fuck, so I get it. But he would be somebody in that paranormal world to have a great conversation with, and might even have some information specifically regarding some of the spots that we're going to be talking about, like October Mountain and the Bridgewater Triangle, things like that. But we want to open that invite to you guys. Share your stories, because Joe and I, we're going to play them back, and then we're going to kind of give our 2 cents and like talk about some crazy shit. So this will be really, really fun. And then I think the last thing I want to do before we wrap and get into our next segment here is I want to mention, so we had mentioned a couple of times in the past about live shows, doing some live events. It is going to be happening. We're going to kick things off, I think, in Rhode Island with that pizza party. I think that's the plan. There's still stuff that has to be organized, but get ready. It's going to be happening. We plan on having some giveaways. We're going to have we're going to do fishy trivia. We're going to do the whole nine. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a great time. Myself and Pat and Matt from Klondike Custom Creations, we have been kind of talking a little bit. John over at JCS Marine is interested in getting involved with it. And then I'm also looking to partner with a local tackle shop to kind of give it more of that real local feel and bring a little jigs and bigs energy into that community. That's the plan. So this could be really good. We'll have dates and things, as well as the Jigs and Bigs holiday party. That is also underway. So, lots of things, loose ends right now. This is that time of year. We got to tighten up loose ends. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a real quick break. We'll turn this sucker around, and then we'll do our Just the Tip. And man, I have an FTG for you guys. This is going to be something. Buckle up. Do
we want to do headlines?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about headlines. I am a piece of shit. Yeah, let's go ahead and do headlines. You ready?
All right. Let's do it. All right, Bobby. It is an end of an era. You want to know why?
Yeah, why? Uh-oh.
Because Motor Guide will be ceasing production.
Yeah.
So on October 14, 2024, iconic trolling motor manufacturer Motor Guide announced that they will cease production. All trolling motor production going forward will come under the Lowrance and Simrad brands, which are their parent companies. Which their parent company Navico says will allow them to provide anglers with the most advanced and seamlessly connected fishing systems. Motor Guide started operation in 1947 and has been building trolling motors ever since. Their motor gained popularity in the 1960s thanks to an easy-to-use nature. They helped pioneer the use of wireless controls, freeing anglers to walk about the boat. The Tour Pro was the first true cable steer trolling motor with GPS anchor capability, making it an angler favorite. They have had significant presence in the bass scene, but Navico is looking to their other brands for trolling motor production going forward. We are thrilled to announce an exciting new chapter in our journey, building on strong legacy of quality and innovation from our Lowrance and Simrad brands. We are transitioning all future trolling motor production under these trusted names, reads a press release from Navico. As a result, manufacturing under the Motor Guide brand has ceased.
Damn.
And it goes into a little bit of information, but I mean, to be honest, what I could say that, oh man, I didn't even know Motor Guide was still a thing, because you just don't see them anymore because Navico has put so much into, Lowrance.
Yep.
So
it's true.
I'm not surprised. To be 100% honest, I couldn't even name any pros that were still using Motor Guide. So, yeah.
You got to wonder if, I hear some stuff like in the kayak world, people using motor guides. Every so often.
I have seen that. I have seen that a little bit in. Actually, I think I saw it on TikTok or Instagram recently today. A pretty big kayak angler kind of talking about how he's had that thing on the front of his boat since 2016. He's kind of bummed now. So
yep. And I think I got an email from Lund about this because I think motor guide for some of their boats was an option. Something like that. And I got an email from it. I was like, really? No shit. But it's kind of crazy. I feel like in some ways, like, could you consider this more of like just a rebranding?
Yeah, I guess you could.
You know, that might not be the worst thing ever, but who knows? It is the end of an era.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those ones where you're like, okay, like it's like obviously if like Minn Kota or like, you know, or Lowrance or even, you know, at this point, Garmin like stop making trolling motors, you'd be like, holy crap. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Yep.
And you know, we'll see. I don't know how much money or what they were putting into those motor guides. Probably not a ton. So who knows like what big things are going to be coming, but we shall see.
And if something does come along, you might see a rebirth of that brand again down the road. Like if the technology there was some sort of a demand or something like that. I'm a little surprised that they didn't shift gears and try to get more into that kayak space. Maybe not with like the standard like bow mounted trolling motors, but like to get into that space to compete with some of the other brands like Bixby and things like that.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, they've probably, and you know, obviously I'm not super privy with the kayak game, but they probably were more prevalent in the kayak world than they were in the big boat world.
I think so. Yeah, probably at this point right now. I feel like I see Minn Kotas everywhere, you know. But again, like that's only on the bodies of water where I'm fishing, and then every once in a while I'll see a Garmin unit.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So we shall see. You know, I guess like kind of, you know, hold on to your hats to see if Lowrance comes without anything. Comes out with anything
further
like
along
significant.
Down the
pipe.
Yeah.
So cool. So next one.
Yep.
The headline, this one comes from Outdoor World. The headline here was, I wasn't going to kill that bass. Tournament angler releases new state record smallmouth.
Real? Okay.
Dude,
interesting.
This was a week before I was there.
Shut up.
New York fisherman Dante Pereno caught a 9-pound smallmouth bass from the St. Lawrence River.
Fucking A.
But decided against putting it on ice for an official inspection. The New York Department of Environmental Conservation announced a new state record smallmouth bass on Thursday. The smallie weighed 9 pounds even, and it was caught September 22nd in the St. Lawrence River by local angler Dante Pereno, who was fishing in a bass tournament at the time. The record-breaking smallmouth was part of a huge 31-plus pound bag that Pereno weighed that Sunday, the final day of the tournament. A judge weighed the fish on the certified scales in front of a group of witnesses, and the whole crowd erupted when they saw how heavy it was.
Damn.
There was, however, some concern that the bass wouldn't qualify as a state record because when Pereno contacted officials with NYDEC, they told him to put the fish on ice until they could verify it the following day. That's pretty fucked up. Pereno refused to kill the fish and released it back into the St. Lawrence instead.
Yep.
On September 24, 2024, Dante Pereno already had a pair of 2-pound smallmouth bass in his boat's live well when he hooked a heavy fish in 30 feet of water at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Pereno was competing in a qualifying tournament on New York's St. Lawrence River, and he needed some real weight to move up in the rankings.
He got it.
I knew it was a good bass, but I figured it was only about a 6-pounder, the 25-year-old tells Outdoor Life. I couldn't get the fish up easily. It didn't jump, but it finally came up 3 or 4 times at the surface where I could see it was a giant. I had trouble getting it into my net because it was so big. Pereno was fishing alone that morning, the second and final day of New York Bass Nation tournament. He worked the smallmouth into his net and saw how the massive fish really was. But at that time, he was more concerned with his final score than the fish's actual weight.
Jeez.
I never thought about it being a record, says Pereno, who runs Deep River Technologies, a marine electronics company. I just wanted to make sure I caught over 30 pounds of bass that day to qualify for the next tournament. Pereno says he immediately fizzed the bass, which entails using a special tool to pierce the air bladder inside the fish. This helps fish decompress and improve the chances of survival after being hauled up quickly from deep water. I fizzed it and put it back in the boat's live well, and the fish righted itself. I knew that it was okay. I checked it 10 minutes later and through the morning, and the fish was just fine. The calm day got warmer, and Pereno knew he had to keep the fish alive and well. He still had a 75-mile boat run back to the tournament. Holy crap, that's a long run.
That's a long-ass fucking run, dude.
And he was the tournament was out of Ogdensburg, so I'm not familiar where that is. He'd run his 19-foot skeeter up the St. Lawrence River from Ogdenburg to an area known as Cape Vincent. I know Cape Vincent. Cape Vincent is essentially the mouth of the lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's where we launch. I actually launch at Cape Vincent quite a bit when I go up there. He was familiar enough with the spot, and he'd recently discovered a deeper flat that held fish using his Garmin live scope. I never would have known there was a bass in that flat without my live scope, he said, but days earlier I'd spotted some big fish, and I checked it during the tournament and started catching them. They were solo, and I'd catch one every 20 or 30 minutes. Pereno was using a 4-inch Berkeley flat nose minnow soft plastic lure in green pumpkin color on a 3/8-ounce Ned rig.
Okay.
His spinning outfit held 10-pound test braided line connected to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. He stayed on fish throughout the day. By the end of the competition, Pereno had put together an impressive bag with 2 5-pounders and 2 6-pounders, in addition to the 9-pounder he landed that morning. Not bad. He wouldn't know how big that fish was until he made the hour run back to the weigh-in, where officials weighed his 31.4-pound bag on certified scales in front of a crowd of witnesses. When they said the big bass weighed 9 pounds, a lot of people started hooting and hollering and said it was a state record, Pereno says. I had no idea it was that big, or it could be a record until then.
Sheesh.
So the photo here is actually shows this woman. She goes by the name of Barb, who actually designs and gives out these fizz kits, and it shows her here at the tank with that fish. So that's kind of pretty cool. Like I met her yesterday or a day before yesterday. He then called officials with the New York Department of Environmental Conservation, but they told him they were not available to come inspect the fish. They suggest I put the bass on ice and have the state folks weigh and measure it on Monday. But I wasn't going to kill that bass, so we got its official weight, measurements, lots of photos and witnesses, and released it, as we should have done. Pereno's bass weighed in 9 pounds with an 18.25-inch girth. 23.12-inch length, and his bass easily tops the current New York smaller record of 8 pounds 6 ounces.
Damn, dude, that is a big fucking fish. I'm looking at the picture right now. Distended belly and everything. Wow. Wow.
Absolute monster.
Jesus Christ.
Absolute monster. It looks like a friggin' like carp or something, dude.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I mean? It's insane. It doesn't even look like a freshwater fish.
No, it's ridiculous. I can't believe that.
Look how red the fins are on it.
And I really love the fact that he's like, look, I'm releasing this fish, because that's the whole thing. Like, while I understand, I don't see, I'm starting to change my status or my opinions on catch and release. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that fish has a genetic makeup that you want to have more of. And
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that is 100% a fish that you want to release. Absolutely. Though it's also 100% a fish that I would have taken all the measurements of to have a replica made with. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's a beautiful fish, Dante. Nice fucking job.
Good for him, man. I mean, and kudos to him for, like you said, for being for it being more important to get that fish back in that watershed.
Yep.
Good on him.
And it was a certified scale on there. So yeah. State records are nice, but Jesus Christ.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Wow. I'd say that was a pretty good freaking little batch of headlines right there.
Hell yeah.
You know, some industry stuff, some records. I can get behind that. Let's go ahead and take a real quick break, guys. When we get back, we got Just the Tip and an FTG that, let me just say,
get your popcorn ready.
Because it is something. Joe, I don't even think you have a solid understanding of where this is going to go.
So this is actually, is fresh and new for me. So I'm excited.
Buckle up. I was so fired up. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for Just the Tip or Bait of the Week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast.
Perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or, ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Well, here we are. It is that time. It's a moment for knowledge, to learn. You know, everybody can learn a little bit. Joe did some learning, and now
I did.
The student becomes the teacher.
I can't really become the teacher yet because Zech was the one that was doing all this, but I just want to, it's more of a knowledge base, a little bit of an announcement. Guys, if you tournament fish, especially if you fish deep water or you're pulling bass out of deeper water, get yourself a fizz kit.
Oh yeah.
And learn how to do it. Watch videos, read articles. It's really quite simple once you get the hang of it. Fizz those fish, because I'm going to tell you right now, I learned from experience. This was the first tournament where I really had, and I'm not a deep water angler. Like I have been learning trial by fire up there, but is giving me the motivation to try fishing a little deeper back home here.
Yeah.
But yeah. Look into it if you're like I said, if you're a tournament angler where, you know, you have to operate your live well and go and do weigh-ins and you're fishing deeper water. If you put that fish in there and it doesn't go to the bottom of that live well and it goes straight to the top, you need to fizz that fish. Have a fizz kit on your boat.
Yeah.
Get yourself familiar with how to do it. I was not familiar. Again, Zech and I had to learn, you know, trial by fire. We're on our phones. Like, luckily, this woman Barb up in St. Lawrence River, she makes her own kits, and she doesn't even charge for them. She just gives them out for free.
Oh, really? That's great.
And she had a great instructional handout that kind of teaches you how to do it. And it was done so well that we were able to do it right there on the spot. I mean, Zech was doing it as I was moving out to the next spot. So do yourself a favor. Like I said, just get yourself, if you tournament fish, get yourself familiar with fizzing fish in the case you get yourself into that situation. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. That and like you said, her name is Barb.
Yeah. I don't recall the last name, but yeah.
That is awesome that she gives out these fizz kits, because there's not a lot to them, really. I mean, you just need like a needle, really.
Yeah.
And you can use a syringe and pop that sucker right in there. And I think the most difficult thing is locating the position of where to fish, where to insert that needle, because you don't want to do any damage, obviously.
Yep.
Damn, that's crazy. So with that said, I'm going to suggest everybody, I know Todd Sefton has his popcorn. He's ready to go. Let's go ahead and dive in. Listeners of Jigs and Bigs, fellow anglers, allow me to tell you a tale. Now, I'm going to say this much going in. This tournament, the slot limit tournament that was on October the 12th was insane. There was some wild shit that happened. Let me paint the picture for you guys. So a few days out beforehand, I had Adam Finlay, who actually had placed in 4th place. He had reached out and said, I'd love to do this, but it's only open to the lower 48. And I was like, you know what, man? Fuck it. It's a fundraiser. I'm like, I'm going to open it up to Canada and Mexico for this. And I was able to get in front of this and make a little bit of some social media waves about this and say, hey, just so everybody's aware, this is what I'm doing. And the feedback from other folks in the tournament was great. They're like, this is the right thing to do. I like it, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be adjusting the rules going forward so that we can include our Canadian counterparts, because believe it or not, somehow, Joe, the Canadians like us, which amazes me. It amazes me. So we had, and I'm gonna make them like us a little bit more. Absolutely, Canadian bacon is not ham. It's not 100%. I've lived it. I can tell you for sure, for certain, it is not ham. So with that said, we had that little bit of a shakeup. The night before the tournament, I actually had 2 anglers who I looked back at the email. They initially emailed me at like 11 p.m. on Friday night. They had registered for the tournament and then had never used a catch board and realized that the hog troughs that they had were not legal boards. And they're like, what can we do? We're going to, run out tomorrow and try and get on them. And I was like, I made the judgment call. I was like, look, I'd love to, there's one or two things. I could allow it. And then if somebody complains, I got to DQ your fish. I just have to.
Yeah.
I said, or let's go ahead and do this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give each of you a 3-inch handicap, meaning your total measurements will be 3 inches shorter. Because I figured I'll give you a dozen fish and you can bend that board and get maybe a 1/4 inch either way. Sure. So I feel like that's fair. I'm telling you guys this because I want you to realize I am not a monster as a tournament director. I try to be as realistic and as fair as possible. Now, these 2 anglers, they got out on the water 4 hours after it started. They were on the East Coast. They didn't get out on the water until noon. They opted to take the handicap and went with it. Now, that was fine. Fished the entire day. No sweat. Entries are coming in left and right. Again, I'm in an area where there is minimal service available, and I'm not getting any alerts or anything to when entries show up. But when I have some service, I'm checking to see what it is, and I see that people are just fucking grinding. It's hard. It's a tough day. A lot of folks only have 1 fish. So I get back to, this is after the tournament's over, and I have 3 different anglers, actually. 3 different anglers who had reached out to me to give me a heads up that a specific angler had very blatantly entered fish multiple times. And I'm not going to say that this was meant in a underhanded, like I'm gonna enter this fish with 2 different pictures. No, this was somebody who entered the same picture multiple times, the same exact photo. So I took this information kind of with a grain of salt. Again, I can't even load the pictures to see the high-res stuff where I am. So I knew I was going to be judging these at home a few days after. Well, that angler who had submitted these, his name is Ken. I'm not sure if his name is Eberhart or Eberhart. We're just going to call him Kenny from here on out. Kenny had actually reached out on his own on Sunday at 3 in the afternoon. He goes, I'm trying to tell someone I have duplicate fish. Not cheating, just old and new at this point. Smiley face. So sorry, I'm used to getting home and deleting duplicates before submitting, but this was my first live event, so I was a tad panicked as in the last hour, all of a sudden, I got on them. No excuses, I'll do better next time, God willing, of course, but I only had 8 fish, not 12. I deleted the duplicates in my catch log, but they just won't disappear from the list. With that said, I see a couple of guys did the same, so maybe I'll still place. Was super fun, and I will join every time for a great cause. Sorry again, but I'm not in first. And I knew there was something up because this guy had entered in. Now, the way these catch photo release tournaments work is you are measuring by the 1/4 inch. So you're never going to be like slightly off that 1/4 inch. It's whatever the line is that it crosses or the judge deems that it's touching. And he had his total score was like whatever that number was, 0.28. So I knew there was something going on right there. I knew that there was something bizarre. Now, this email came in from one email address. Then I responded to him. This was shortly thereafter, probably about a half hour or so after. I was like, hey, thanks for your message, Ken. We are aware of the duplicate entries, but currently I'm outside of any reliable network connection. I can't access the courthouse. I can access the courthouse this week and we'll update all the entries. No worries on the duplicates. These things happen. Glad you were a part of our tournament. He goes, thanks, Rob. I figured it out by simply removing the measurement. I deleted the fish. It was super fun. Really liked the format. Is this a second? Nope, that's the same email address because he did change email addresses at one point or another. He then follows immediately after that. This was on Monday. Yeah, this was within a couple hours after that last email. He goes, second place guy has a few duplicates as well. Lots of open mouths from many guys as well. I'm not giving up hope. Looks like third for me. Yeah. And then I respond to him about the time I got home. I go, Ken, I'm currently on the road back to my home base, and I'll be in touch about these duplicate fish this week. Oh, no, it was when I stopped for gas. I go, I was in Western New York, didn't have much for cell service, so I couldn't even really preview any of these entries. I'll let you know the situation when we determine what's going on. He goes, that's cool. No worries. I'm a solid 4th, possibly 3rd. That's exciting. Smiley face. Please add me to your league or future stuff. Only chance I truly have is for a slot tournament format. And then he responds and goes, I wasn't sure about a couple, so I deleted them too. It's okay. I don't want to look like a cheater. This is the point where my radar's going off and I'm like, there's some fuckery going on here. He goes, I don't want to look like a cheater. That last hour was crazy. I caught so many and just got confused with so many picks. It was fun regardless. Do people need more time for uploading? No one wants to stop during the day for that. Winky face. Since the photo is timestamped when caught, why not have the uploaded extended by 10 p.m.? No, that's not happening. An hour after the event is more than adequate, and it's an even playing field. So, yeah, you're going to have to upload fish if you've got cell phone service. In fact, it's advised that you do it that way. So, again, he follows up. Now we are one, two. This is the 3rd email in a row from him. He goes, well, we have an issue. If I'm going to be fair, then everyone is, including those approving fish, ? First fish as official has an open mouth at 15 inches. You approved it at 15.25 with no deduction and the wrong measurement. What's the deal? Secondly, every fish that he has no life, no hand on a single fish, smells super fishy, Rob. Please take another look at what's being called official. I responded, I'm not done yet, Ken. Sit tight. I'm going through everything and then we'll do a second pass. Now, to explain the situation, not that I have to, but That first fish, when it got corrected, wasn't the largest fish anymore, Kenneth. It got bumped down. So what you were looking at 15 and a quarter was actually the second 15 and a quarter inch fish that our winner had entered. Some of this is going to get a little bit more clear as we go through that. Ken clearly does not have a fucking grasp as to what's happening with the technology on his person. So again, I tell him, sit tight. I'm going through everything. I will then do a second pass. He goes, okay, but it's a mess. Huge errors. I respond back. This is about as fucking spicy as I got with my messages. I said, actually, it's not. It's looking really solid. I'm taking penalties of a ½ inch off where is appropriate and disqualifying the fish as needed. In fact, our second place winner lost a 17 because it was too large. I had to take that fish, that image, export it, and draw a straight line at that 17-inch mark, and it went over that line. So it doesn't count as a 17. In fact, he even responded to me and said, hey, I didn't catch that. But when I took a closer look, absolutely. When you're looking at these things in the sun, you can make mistakes. I was giving that same window of error to Kenny, who clearly just couldn't fucking handle it. So I said, I'm taking a percentage off where I have to, where needed. I said, I'm the judge here. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but cool it off a bit. One more message, and I'm going to refund you $40 and call it a day with you. Then I'm talking about all of this on the show as an example for future reference. And guess what?
Here the fuck we are, Kenny.
He goes immediately afterward. I mean, this was 8 minutes afterwards. He goes, sounds good, refund. Then he goes, I said, awesome, thanks. What's your Venmo or PayPal? He goes, and there's one thing I want to check. I want to see the email address that he's sending me. Nope, it's still the same one. He goes, awesome, thanks. What's your Venmo or PayPal? He goes, PayPal. End of message. Then he goes, same way I paid. And then he goes, get my name off that list immediately. I'm a legitimate tournament angler, which, if we rewind the tape, he already said this was his first live event, and he was a newbie and just getting used to this. He says, I can't be associated with this league in any way. I wasn't aware. I said, is this the email you use for PayPal? And he sends me another email with a different email. He goes, I deleted my fish. What a fuck over. Timestamps on the photos would have showed you duplicates. The fact that you approved countless open mouths shows me that you didn't do any of that, which is what is required to trust a league. You should be ashamed. Be glad I'm honest, or you would have been paying me for second or third. Sad. Fucking douchebag. I then got a blank email. He didn't fucking send anything. He was so fucking fired up. He then sent me his email address again to refund him. He then followed it up by saying, dude, what the fuck? You just made a fish official with his finger under the gill plate. Immediate disqualification per your own rules.
Let me clarify that situation, Kenneth.
You dumb fuck. I am judging these fish on a 15-inch monitor. You want to know why? I am an old man. Not quite as old and fucking clueless as you, but I want to get the best view as possible. The fish he's talking about was a smallmouth submitted by Adam Findlay, who landed in 4th place in the money. Adam's finger, his index finger on his hand on the fish, was not his index finger, his pinky finger was tucked under his palm. Like this, Joe. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I could see the gill plate go right under his ring finger with ease. You want to know why? Because I was able to zoom the fuck in, Ken. I was able to zoom right the fuck in and see exactly what was going on. So I approved that fish, and you can kindly fuck right off, my friend. I responded to him there. I was like, kindly stop emailing me. I'll be refunding you shortly. He goes, dude, I'm working on getting you removed from fishing chaos. I won't tolerate this when money is on the line for more than just me. You are way out of line. Funny, this is a fundraising tournament, Kenneth. You fucking cocksnot. He's losing his mind over here because money is on the line, but he doesn't have the skill set to compete in non-slot limit tournaments is, according to his words, not mine. I'm not saying that there's any difference in skill set whatsoever. This just levels the playing field for everybody across the board. But he is losing his mind. I also want to add that at this point, I reached out to Thomas at Fishing Chaos. Thomas has been excellent to work with as far as getting things developed for this weird multi-species scavenger hunt. Please, Kenneth, don't ever register for our shit. You are banned. Whether it's the scavenger hunt, whatever it is, I will disqualify you immediately. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I talked to Kenneth, and Kenneth... or not Kenneth, Thomas had a very good laugh. He goes, because my question to Thomas was, can we flag an account so that this way, if this user tries to enter another tournament, or even worse, tries to enter somebody else's tournament, they know the world of hurt that they're possibly bringing in? Almost like a review or a score of that angler.
Yeah.
Not on their fishing ability, just on their ability to not be a fucking asshat when it comes to you didn't win, dickhole. You did not win. What can I tell you? So there's that. You know, Thomas had said that, you know, all I can really do is just disqualify him from the tournament. And then he followed up by saying, is he threatening you? I was like, no. He's only threatening to try to have me removed from Fishing Chaos. He goes, well, he doesn't have the ability to do that. He's like, he's in for a fucking whole world of fucking wake up call here. So then he goes, follows that up. Again with another message. Oh, it's the same thing. He just said, dude, I'm working on getting you removed from Fishing Chaos. I won't tolerate this when money's on the line. You're just way out of line. Another blank email with nothing in here. Just fucking nothing in there. And this was sent seconds after the fucking last one. I then respond, have a fantastic day, Ken. Best of luck in all your tournament ventures. He goes, thanks, Rob. I will always, as I always have. Wait, as I always have? Aren't you a first fucking timer, Kenny? What the fuck is happening here? He goes, just have to avoid people and leagues like yours. I'm working on seeing what avenues does one have to report your dirty dealings online. I go, again,
Ken, we here appreciate your participation in these events, especially this one, as it's a fundraiser for Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Here's to hoping you catch a big one on your next cast. From the entire Jigs and Bigs team, kindly thank you for participating in our 2024 season. You are appreciated.
It was just oozing with fucking sarcasm. It was just dripping. Now, that is the last of the emails. Now, I should say that in my Fishing Chaos messages, it was wrought with exactly what he sent. He would email one and then send a message on Fishing Chaos. And this was happening as I was judging fish live. I would do anything and he would be like, fucking have a comment for me. So I want to explain to people, here's the deal, right? This is the Bobby Roast Beef method of fucking judging fish, okay? When we have a certain number of anglers, there's a certain number of spots that pay out. I will go through those spots and the next few, depending if it changes anything, the ones that are in the money with a fine-tooth comb. Beyond that, it is more or less just a where did you place. And I'm looking for things that I just straight have to disqualify. Yeah. I haven't even completed finishing this because I've tried since then to judge a fish in this tournament, and this motherfucker still is just like, oh, hey, that was bullshit or whatever. So I'm just avoiding him entirely. You know what I mean? I did have a long conversation with Sean the Fisherman because I needed Sean is good for me because he often will walk me off of a ledge. I'm looking right now at Ken Eberhardt's email address and phone number, and I was going to drop both on the show and just let the Jigs and Bigs troll audience just have at it. Go and have a good time and let him know what a quality human and sportsman he is. Look, you guys all understand. We had 30 anglers in this, nearly 30 anglers. We had 28 minus him, taking him out. Everybody had a great time. Everybody knows that this is on the up and up. I don't give a fuck about cheating or giving anybody an advantage. I mean, Jesus Christ, if I was going to give anybody an advantage, it would be me. But I fucking skunked on the board. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not in anybody's pocket. And the fact that he was doing this to Brody and the fact that he was so clueless about everything, Ken Eberhardt.
Fuck you.
Just, that's all I've got for you, buddy. That's all I've got. Now, I will invite the jigheads or whomever. If you guys want to jump in the DMs and tear him a new one, I might let some of his private information slip. I don't know. Maybe. You can ask. You could clearly ask. Maybe.
Is this a local guy?
I am. You know what? Let's take a look at where he is. You know what? I think I'm going to look by his area code. I could look at his entries, but he's in St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in St. Louis. And he has a fucking, like, I looked at his account, right, to see what teams he was on, what clubs. And, this is the first tournament he's ever done. And it doesn't look good because on his public profile, it shows disqualified for all his entries. It does not look good. Let's look at tickets here. Club member info. No, he did have some other stuff. Oh, is it a profile? Oh, I can flag this angler. Oh, there we go. Fuck, we just flagged him. That's great. I didn't realize that was even a feature. His public profile. This is it. Yeah, all of his fish fucking show disqualified. What a dick. What a dick. There we go. Now, apparently he's in some other... I don't think he's ever entered any of these. Oh, no. No. He's entered some shit. So he is in, it looks like, the KBF Summer State Challenge in 2024. The Big Bass Challenge USA Fall Frenzy. He is in the Fish Ops Catch 22 Challenge.
Okay.
And so, I mean, he's in some fucking clubs, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm calling shenanigans on him saying he was a first-time angler. First and foremost, 100% calling bullshit on that, and trying to play it off like he didn't know what he was doing. Because those are some pretty significant fucking deals. I know, like, the Catch 22 is kind of like that was, I believe, a KBF and like content creator sort of hybrid thing where they would bring like followers from different accounts on there, but he clearly knew what the fuck he was doing. You know what I mean? But what an absolute piece of shit. So I'm glad I was able to at least flag him and whatever. That's kind of a good thing. Hopefully other people will know what's going on with him and his bullshit. But yeah, that's it. Kenny, you suck, man. And I have to wonder, even if all your fish were legit, all of them, and you were in first place legitimately, would you have had the level of class that Brody did? Nah.
I don't think you would have. No, I don't.
No.
Not at all.
I'm not thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're just an absolute piece of shit right here. Todd comments in here. He goes, I seen he wasn't a rookie. He's been in a few online tournaments. That's exactly it. So I don't know what the fuck he was trying to fucking pull off or anything, but this guy can go fuck himself.
Fuck him.
Again, like... he made my life for a couple of days an absolute living hell just trying to fucking judge these fish. And I don't have a fucking stake in the claim at all. You guys enter the tournaments. I appreciate it. That is fantastic. But this guy can go fuck right off.
The old fishing chaos, Karen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yep. Whatever.
And for having that much experience, what the fuck was going on the water where you were sending exactly the same image? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't handle this when there's money on the line. Dude, it's a charity tournament, dude. Like, what the fuck? And I mean, this isn't to say I'm expecting second, third, and fourth place to like return their fucking...
Yeah,
no way. No, you won that. That's what it was for. That's why I added the fucking fee to make a donation off of every single tournament that was in there, and that's what that's for. But like this guy here, what a fucking dick. Like, fuck him.
Fucking ding dong.
Yeah. So much for that guy. He's an absolute piece of shit. But now let's talk about something fucking super geeky and just awesome.
Okay, gearheads, it's time to talk tools. Jigs and Bigs gear of the week.
I want to tell you guys about, so I've been upgrading some stuff in my boat, and some of this stuff I absolutely love. You know what I mean? I recently picked up one of these real simple rod holder kits with like 4 of the tube style rod holders. Installed that on the side of my console after fishing with it for a couple of days. I really, really enjoy that. That's great. I did pick up a Bluetooth speaker so I could freaking jam out to a little playlist. And
smart.
For those long days, it's really nice, and I really enjoy that. But I'll tell you what, man, the one thing that I am just absolutely blown away with are my boat steps. The boat steps from Omega are fan-fucking-tastic. And I mean, again, like, I'm completely straight up about this. I had reached out to a bunch of different companies, and Omega was interested in working out, sending me some products so that I could give some feedback on it. And, you know, I told them straight up, I'm like, if they're terrible, like, I'm going to let people know about it. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, yeah, you know, it's like, there's a little bit of a gamble here because I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I am more than delighted with what's been in there. I have been using these, you know, when I was rigging the boat, I was using these steps a lot. And I'll tell you what, having the boat hooked up to the truck really does kind of stabilize everything. You know, I mean, again, I am pushing the limits. These steps have a weight limit of 450 pounds. I say I'm pushing the limits. I'm below that significantly, but like, I'm a 300-pound guy, and I go up and down these stairs with no issues at all. And it was really great when it came to rigging to get things ready before I splashed the boat. When it really dawned on me, though, how great these things are, was when I loaded the boat on the trailer, and then Janelle pulled me up out of the water, and I went to go get out. I was like, oh shit, I don't have to, I stayed completely dry. Like, awesome. It is so nice to just be able to walk right down these things and be good to go. Yesterday, when I loaded the boat up, and Friday as well, I used the steps to get out and then pull the boat out of the water. I was like, this is perfect. So my plan of like, I'm going to keep these muck boots in the back of the truck and use those when I need to, because we're getting about that time of year where the docks are going to start disappearing. You know, they're going to start coming out. Yep. And if you're going to splash your boat anywhere, you're going to be doing so from the bank. And that's fine. It's lots of places where I fish anyway. That's the story. But it has been an absolute dream, loading up, getting out of the boat, walking down those steps. And it's just absolutely awesome. I will say, Paul had the opportunity multiple times to use them. I think he's afraid of them. I think he thinks that they're going to break or something like that. I'm like, I went up and down them a couple of times yesterday, and they're rock solid. They're absolutely rock solid. I can't wait. This week I'm going to go out with my dad and do some fishing, and I'm really so stoked to see what he thinks of them, because I think the real way to do this is to have him just get in. I'll splash him. He can just back right off. Then I'll pull the trailer out and he can motor the boat right back on up. Make life nice and easy.
I love my stairs, dude.
So what ones do you have?
They just came with the boat.
Oh, they came with the boat. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. A lot of the bass boats do. They come with them on the trailer. It's like an option. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all. It really is. Now, yeah, so yours came with them, so you didn't even have to install them. Wow, that's nice.
Nope.
Not that installing that is difficult. It's basically, in this situation, it was 8 bolts. Put the extension on, that's 4, and then you have another 4 where the steps actually meet the extension, and then I guess there's maybe another 2, so it's 10 bolts in total for the railing.
Yep.
I do have a railing extension that extends down. I haven't put that on yet because I want to try it without it first and then add that. So probably next spring I'll put that on and see how it all works out. But so far, man, Omega, I fucking love your boat steps. I fucking love them. Absolutely. So I did ask Jacob over at Omega if he could hook us up with a promo code for our jig heads. And, we're going to go ahead and post that once we get that all lined up. And we'll share that for you guys so you guys can save a little bit on your boat steps if you're going to add them to your trailer. I can't recommend it enough. Boat steps, period. But these Omega ones, I think for the money, that's the move. They're priced right. In fact, one of our jig heads already bought a set. It was right after I first mentioned it. Topless
Okay.
Timmy Jakes already bought a set. And he's like, I made sure to tell him that you sent me over. He's like, holy shit. He's like, I just fucking ordered mine. I'm like, that's awesome, man. You know, I fucking love it. Anything you can do to extend the amount of usage that you can use your boat for, like, I'm all about. If it'll keep you out there, or you're, getting older and you're just like, hey, I'm not climbing into this thing ain't so easy anymore, or whatever. Or your loved ones, allowing them to get in and out of your boat with ease.
Right.
I'm really excited to see what Queen Beef thinks of this. This will be interesting. Because I think next year she's getting an education in how to load the boat and how to launch. She'll be backing up trailers and shit in no time.
Hell yeah.
In no time. Drunk. No, I'm probably
I wish I could get Meg to do it.
I fucking kind of love it. I kind of do. I'm a huge loser like that. This has been an amazing show, Joe. We covered a lot. It was an emotional roller coaster.
It was.
It really, really fucking was. We had the ultimate FTG. We had tales from absolute legendary locations for fishing, and everything in between. A home run. A home run indeed. Want to give a shout out to all the jig heads that did pop in this morning on this early Monday morning. Tim Behan, Todd Sefton, and John Hagens joining us. By the way, John had made a suggestion. I put up a post in the Patreon feed about future trips and some places where we should go. And John had listed some spots. I don't know, Joe, if you have any interest in some large, like channel catfishing.
Okay.
But he's got some spots, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll just come out to Ohio and we'll hit it out here." And I'm all about that. All about that. We're talking about doing another snakehead trip with this group that I was in Cayuga with, and I said when we were up there, I was like, "We need to keep this going, but I think we need to start like bringing in new folks as well." And have this rotating door so that we can just constantly be introducing people to like different ways of fishing and different species and everything else, and just have a fucking good one. So that's going to be badass. I'm really excited about that. Do you have anything you want to wrap up with, Joe?
No, man, that's it. Hope everyone has a good week, and hopefully I get on the water, and let's do it.
Fuck yeah, guys. You guys have a great one. We appreciate you so much. Our listeners are absolutely amazing. If you could be so kind as to throw us a review specifically on the Apple Podcast platform. Even if you're an Apple user like me and you prefer to listen to your podcast on Spotify, go over to Apple, because for whatever reason, that seems to have a little bit more weight in the world of analytics as far as like getting us some visibility. So a review over there is fantastic. Whether it's a 5-star review, a 2-star review, a little constructive criticism, anything like that, we'd appreciate it. Absolutely. Remember, as always, to be tagging Jigs and Bigs in your social media posts. If you're sharing fish pics or anything like that, we want to like, share, and comment and try and help you get some visibility as well by engaging with you guys. We love to engage with our audience. It's kind of the name of the game. And if you're in the area or in an area where we have one of the live shows coming up, we'll be listing some of that stuff as they get confirmed on all of our social platforms, and probably have a separate page on jigsandbigs.com as well as a link to it in our link tree. And we'll post information as well in the details of the podcast. And last thing, I promise, if you've had something a little bit weird happen to you while you were on the water, or you've just got some spooky story in general that you would like to share with us, please give us a call on the hotline. The hotline number, again, is 413-324-8519, 413-324-8519. We'd love to hear your stories, and we've got some shit to talk about. I got some shit that's going to fucking rock people's worlds. I think some of the stories I say might make people fucking think twice about listening to this fucking show.
Can't wait.
It's fucked up, dude. It's fucked up. I don't think I told this story around the campfire on Friday night. This was after Janelle went to bed.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I don't think she would have slept a wink if I fucking told her this story. It was the scariest shit, especially, I'm going to tease it, if you're a little religious, buckle up.
Oh, boy.
Buckle the fuck up. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. As always, have a great one. We will see you in 7 days with more Jigs and Bigs goodness. You know how it goes. Like we always say.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.